we talk all the time about gear and the right tools for the job. And you
Mm-hmm.
got to have what you need for that particular gig and what's happening. And even professional musicians are like, oh, yeah, it's just a tool. I don't really care. My main topic today is, are we wrong to call these things tools? Are we wrong to call these instruments and amplifiers and pedals and all these things tools? Because yes, they are tools for a job, but boy, if you're not connected to it and it's not something more than just a nail or a hammer, it really, there's like such a disconnect, and I'm not as intrigued with it. Are we wrong to call these things tools? Because it's much more, my guitar, whenever I play it, feels much more than just like a tool to me.
Well, when I talk to you, you feel more like a tool to me.
Ouch.
Oh gosh, gotta love it. All right. I don't. I. This is another. You're right. This is kind of like in your head thought.
It is.
Um, I would say no. There's some items that are tools.
Yeah. So an extension cord is a tool. But I'm talking
Yeah,
like
a DI
guitars,
box. That's a tool.
the sound that certain ones make. Is that a tool?
I would say if you're so like the Fishman preamp thing that we were talking about earlier, or the Fishman DI,
Mhm.
like that is it does affect your sound. So to me, that could be considered not a tool. But I'm talking about just a regular plug and go DI. Like
Okay.
that is a tool.
Yep. I would give that to
A
you.
mic stand, that's a tool.
Yep.
Um, if you are not, like you kind of said, if you're not connected to it, but you need it for a certain thing, it's a tool.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
If you are not connected to it, but you need it for a sound or for the gig, or like studio musicians, they have to have thousands of tools. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That they're not connected to.
I wonder if sometimes those guys use guys. That's a no, my cousin Vinny.
Sure.
Okay, so
I know the movie,
yeah,
but I don't remember that part. So.
yeah, that's okay. It's a
Yeah.
courtroom scene.
Okay.
But anyway, I wonder if some of them look at their stuff more like tools because yeah, it's an everyday job for them too. So that kind of changes the process a little bit. Whenever I'm going and gigging, I'm not a full-time musician. It's not my everyday job.
Right.
So maybe I don't look at it like a tool as much as they would.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe they're not as connected to their gear and they can just kind of offload stuff and change things. And that's why, Tom Bukovac's gone through a million guitars, buying, selling, trading. And I'm sure guys like, Derek Wells and all those guys have also. But boy, whenever I get a hold of a piece of gear that really speaks to me and is working for a gig, it doesn't feel like a tool necessarily. Those are the pieces of gear that I like kind of reluctantly buy. And then I kind of, after a while playing it, I'm like, I really should get rid of this thing. I should move this along.
I think you're talking about two completely different things, because you're talking about all this gear that we have. Are we wrong with calling them tools? I think some of them have to be tools, and then some of them, like even we had talked about, oh goodness, your IR2.
Mm-hmm.
It is a tool, but then you plugged it in, you're like, this is inspiring. A
Yeah,
little bit.
right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there can be tools that are inspiring, but there's also, pieces of gear that like family heirlooms.
Yeah.
They'll eventually be like a sentimental piece. Something that you won't part with. I don't know. Guitar, everything's a hobby, unless I guess it's your livelihood. Um, what I'm trying to say is that there are some pieces that are always going to be a part of you. I wouldn't call those tools necessarily, but to another person, it's going to be a tool. So I don't think anybody's wrong in calling everything a tool. I don't think anybody's wrong with connecting with every single piece, but it's going to be different from person to person.
Yeah, I think I've just recently I've gotten so much in the mindset of like thinking about things as tools in the right thing for the right job. And when I was doing that, it almost took some of the excitement out of it in doing that. Mm-hmm. And I think just for my mental state, I think it was the wrong way to look at it. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what got me on this thing. So I was like, why am I mean, it's not a tool. Like, I love this thing. I love this guitar I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this amp and stuff, whenever it's working well, I love what I've got going.
You know, that kind of reminds me of your Duesenberg, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got a Tele, you've got a Les Paul. We've always said that this is more of your do-it-all tool guitar,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But it's not.
No, it's definitely not.
It's a great guitar.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things. What do you connect with? What's important to you? I mean, like, if you think you'll eventually get rid of that one day, or you fall out of love with it, I don't think there's any problem with getting rid of it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a topic that, like, you could talk about for hours, but also, does it really matter?
Well,
I don't mean it bad.
No, I know what
I'm
you
just
mean.
saying.
no, I don't know that it necessarily matters in the grand scheme of things, but maybe it matters to me whenever I'm looking at things and how I'm looking.
If you're excited about something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to be inspired too. And if you look at everything as a tool, then you're like, another day at the office.
I don't ever. I mean, there's guys out there that do, but I don't ever open up my toolbox out in my garage and pull out a screwdriver and like, yeah, this thing feels good in the hand. Like,
Now, a drill, maybe.
no, I don't. Like, yeah, there's ones that feel crappy, ones that feel good, and you can obviously tell the difference. And I'm sure somebody that does that for a living can really notice the difference a lot.
Right.
But man, you pick up a guitar, and I can immediately. But I guess that's what we're into, right? It's what you're into.
That's what I'm trying to say, man.
Yeah. I'm just kind of tired of calling them tools at this point. There's certain things like cables and stands and DI boxes that don't have any any sound or jiggery or pokery about them that I'm okay with calling them tools. But I think it's a point for me now in my head, at least for me and myself and how I look at gear, because it takes the enjoyment out of it if I don't watch it too much, that I think I need to stop calling some of this stuff tools. Because it's more than that to me.
All right. Well, I'll keep saying what I'm saying, and you just worry about you.
I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Am I silly for getting in my head too much about these things and calling them tools?
I think, honestly, that pedal show, Mick and you are a lot alike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's really into, like, the psyche of it, which I get. Like, and the more you get into the weeds, the more you can't help but to do that. And I think when I start to do that, I'm like, I got to take a step back.
Yeah, I've got to process through it. I've got to make my way through it and come to the other side.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm at the point where I need to not be calling this thing a tool.
Yeah.
Even though maybe 6 months ago, I was calling this thing a tool.
Yeah. Maybe 6 months ago, I was calling you a tool.
You just did. All right, guys. Put your comments down below. Let us know what you guys think. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.